The leaves are turning colors. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's some yellow and some green in there. And the tree is still alive, right? Tree's a whole being with all of these individual selves that all have a life cycle. They live and they die. And the leaves also have an instinct to live, right? They turn towards the sun. They communicate with other trees through chemical signaling. They have sense, not necessarily sense organs like we know it, but they have sensations like we know it. The same, how can I say this? The same receptors in our sense organs. There's a golf course right there. Trees and plants have all over their body. What happened to that dirty duster mustache you had? People. That's been a long time. It's been basically the whole year. January 1st-ish, around this year, is when the mustache came off. I didn't shave for, I believe, 5 or 6 years. Learned what I look like without shaving, and that's why I have no more face right now. What actually happened, I'll tell you guys what actually happened. I was showing up places. Solstein, come on. I was showing up a lot of places, and there would be, I need to get off this main road. How do I get off this main road? I was showing up a lot of places, and people were offering me jobs for minimum wage. And I felt that if I'm going to be in business meetings, because with Purium, I'm on business meetings, I'm talking to people about how they can make a lot of money through the business of sales and recruiting. And I was like, if I'm showing up places and other people are offering me minimum wage jobs as if I was like a homeless person, which I actually looked like that when I was homeless, which is what I was before I started with Purium. I was living out of my storage shed. Cody's on here. I saw him. One time I had a 3-wheeled car with no roof. So the thing is, usually when you decide not to have a home, you can sleep in your car. But my vehicle didn't have a roof, so it was a little bit difficult. But I was so happy one time Cody went out of town. I think he went down to South America or something, and he let me borrow his like little station wagon looking car, and I could sleep in the back of that. It was amazing. We would do Purium presentations, and I would be talking to people about how this is a business and you can make money, and then I would go a couple streets over and sleep in Cody's car while he was out of town. And that's basically the status I was before I started Purium. I was just roaming around the planet, didn't really have a home, but I knew that what we were offering to people, the money back guaranteed superfoods, scientifically proven to do things no other foods can do, I knew that it was a good product and it was a worthy business. And I've been in business before. I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in business as well. So I won and lost. I trusted in Purium, and it worked out. No longer homeless. Now we basically live wherever we want. We move around. We have got freedom, flexibility. Why am I talking about this? All right. So as I'm moving around the world, recruiting people to basically learn what I learn and repeat and duplicate what I do, I'm telling people about this, but I'm looking at the same time like I'm a minimum wage employee or I don't have a job, right? So that's the impression I'm leaving on people, which was fine for me just walking around my house or just existing as me. I'm fine looking like that, but I realize that because I'm doing presentations in front of people, I can't be doing presentations in front of professional people if this is the way that they're viewing me. So yes, I did shave my face purely because, number one, I got to the end of the cycle, and then also I was misrepresenting the message that I was promoting. Contraceptive alternatives for men and women. I mean, I'm not going to go into that subject. We all learned about sex ed a very long time ago. Anyways, not going to go into that subject. Come to Dominican Republic. I've never been there. All right, so back to the leaves. When the leaves fall, what does it do? The leaf goes into the ground. It falls onto the ground, and then it gets mixed in with what else? Gets mixed in with other animals' defecation, which is, what is that? That's other plant matter. It's also other animal matter, leftovers. And the leaf falls down to the ground, and then it gets composted in the soil. So the difference between soil and dirt is that this stuff right here is dirt. It's basically nutrientless, and soil is made up of fallen leaves and branches, and it has nitrogen, it has carbon, it has components for life in it. And so when the leaves fall down onto the ground, that's going to essentially add to the soil of the planet, which is right around the tree, right? So the leaf dies, it falls down onto the ground, it mixes with other life forms, and then it contributes to the growth of the tree. Similar to us, right? We go through the same process. We die, we go into the ground or into the sea, and then we turn back into the elements. We turn back into the soil, we turn back into the air, the water, we give it back, because we're all borrowing those elements. And then we become a part of the tree of life. Have you guys ever thought that the air that we're breathing right now is the same air that everybody else on the earth is breathing? It's also the same air that every other person that's ever existed has breathed. I'm going to contradict myself right now. Has anybody on here heard of water and how the planet makes water and how our bodies make water, and that it's not a limited resource that just, goes through the normal cycle that we're taught, and that it actually gets made through hydrogen and oxygen, because that's water, right? So there's a lot of people that I know, different people, that have talked about springs 90% up a mountain. So they mark it. They have it marked 90. Somebody gave me some research on it too. I need to look it up. But 90% up a mountain, if you go and you find a spring, you're going to notice that spring is just dripping. Drip, 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 drip. And that's what they call living water. It's pure living water. And the reason why they call it living water is because that spring, that channel, that meridian of the planet is actually vortexing in the hydrogen from the sun, the energetic frequency of hydrogen from the sun, the oxygen from the air, and it's creating water. And as that water drips down the spring, what happens? The spring gets bigger. Why does it get bigger? If the source was at the top of the mountain, how come it's getting bigger if at the source it's just dripping? Well, it's because the water is multiplying. It's not necessarily more springs on the way down, because the spring goes all the way up the mountain, and then the spring is literally just taking the path of least resistance down. It's not connecting Are you pooping again, buddy? One sec, everybody. So it's not necessarily connecting with other springs on the way down. That does happen as well, but according to this theory, it's multiplying. The water's growing as it goes down, and it continues to grow on this entire planet as it's harmonizing hydrogen and oxygen. And so that's kind of the concept of living water. And there's people that go and they climb up and they find these source waters, and they're like being chased down by the CIA and such, because their water is super, super, super powerful, like more powerful than they can make in a lab in terms of like the structure of hydrogen in the water and the other components that they value inside water. All right, I wanted to ask, if everything is temporary in the body, then what's the point of taking care of it? That's up to you, right? So like if you had a car, you can drive the car hard, right? Or you can drive the car safe, or you can even literally not drive the car and it stay in your driveway and it lasts longer. The body doesn't really work like that, because actually a car works the same way. If you just let it sit there, it's going to start corroding itself. So you do need to drive it every once in a while. Our body works the same way. And it's our choice. We can ride it hard. We can give it whatever fuel we want. We can give it the right fuel, or we can give it shitty gas. We can give it gas that's unmatched to the engine. But the point is that we can have a lot of fun with our body, just like we can have a lot of fun with our car, and it's not going to last as long. And we all have that decision of how we would like to design our life. Do we want to ride fast and dirty and through the mud and off-road? Are we taking our vehicle that way? Is that our style? Or are we going to be like the granny driver that stays in the right lane, allows people to go first at the stop signs, playing it very safe? Those people still get hit, right? I mean, as somebody who drives very fast, I feel those are the ones that cause the accident. I'm a little delusional that way, but or you can just leave it in the driveway and let it kind of rust out from the inside because it's not being churned with fluids. So the point is that you give life the experience. You give life meaning. You choose what you would like. Somebody asked, what do I feed Solar? You know, we've never found anything that we like, because Solar, stay here. Hello, good day. Solcine, come here. Come on. So we never found anything we like. Right now he's got diarrhea. We're feeding him the farmer's dog right now. And so we're going this way. Getting lost here. And we are uncertain of, we've never found any food that Solar's like poop is absolutely perfect. So we're also moving around a lot though. So it might have to do with us stressing him out, him not used to his environment, or him like eating the grass or getting into the bushes in different places that he's allergic to. Are you increasing your testosterone naturally? Your voice seems deeper. Thanks, Solar, for rubbing your diarrhea poop on my leg. I don't know, but I did just interview 5 testosterone experts in my pilot series for Subject Matter Experts podcast. So I don't think it's that. I think it's actually the fact that I got what a lot of people call sick, and I think that's what's going on. but I'll take a deeper voice. All right. How do you find the ability to trust anything after being in a position of such poverty? It's called efficacy. Having efficacy means that you trust that you're effective. Self-efficacy, I should say. It means that you trust that you are effective, that you can survive. You know, in the beginning, I'm just going to give you guys a story of another wise person that gave me an example. So there's this guy, Mick. He was on a TV series, reluctantly, called The Legend of Mick, because there was a legend of this old man that was oldish, I should say. This man, I'll just say man without the label. This man that was running around naked in the Hoh rainforest in Washington, which is cold and wet. But Mick was living there for over 10 years. Like, that was his home. He was sleeping under trees. He explained to me that he would light a fire, and then he would put his wool blankets on top of the fire, on top of the coals, and then it will last 6 hours of warmth at night. And he was literally living outside in the rainforest. Anyways, there's 3 seasons on this guy. And I went and lived with him a little bit, kind of after I closed my gyms and I was doing the exploration thing. And Mick is obsessed with fitness. And so his definition of fitness is fitting into the nest. All right, so you should train to be able to fit into different nests. And what he means by that is that there's a city nest. You know, like animals are in a nest, they make a nest in the woods, like underneath the tree. That's one nest. But us humans, we've got the nest of the city. We've got the nest of the nature. And then we have a nest that is like the in-between, like the farmlands. And we've got everything in between, right? We've got like water, island type nests, and our ability to be able to fit into nests is our fitness level. That was his definition. And I feel the same thing is true when it comes to our mental capacities. Our capacity to fit into different versions of self, different ways of being, different states of being, different environments is going to determine our capabilities of self. And we're here to explore in all of the different nests that Earth has to offer. Now, we don't just have physical nests of houses and city versus nature. We also have the state of being of working a 9-to-5 job 50, 60 hours a week, okay? We've got a student state of being. We've got, I've already done all that. We've got business owner state of being. I've already done all that. Now I'm going to go and see what it's like to not have any money. Am I able to still maintain myself in all of those different states of awareness? And for me, exploring into that is a way that I learn and I become more valuable in the process. So even if you've never ever been a renunciate and just renounced everything and got rid of everything and trusted in yourself in those situations, I invite you to do that, especially if you're young. Like, I literally got to the point where I was like, I don't have any money to eat. All right, great. And you start to see what you actually are manifesting, because money is no longer the story that we tell ourselves. You actually start to experience your own manifestations. And what ended up happening was I was realizing that things that I've been desiring to do for a very long time are now possible that I didn't have money. So for instance, fasting. I always wanted to fast. I always desired to fast. And there was always a reason not to. Oh, I was working out and I shouldn't be not eating. And then it got to the point where I didn't have any money. And it's like, okay, awesome. I've been tuning into and intending on fasting, and here it is. I have no money to eat. Great. And so that was my first fast. And then I was like, all right, I'm feeling like I need some food. What do I do? And then I realized, like, I've got a vehicle. I've got a truck. I'm going to sell it. So I sold my truck, which I loved. I loved it so much. It's a huge, giant truck. I sold it for $4,000, and that basically bought me a few more months of life. And then it was like, okay, now I need to move out of, well, the moving out thing actually happened wildly. So then I was still, this was before the home. So before the home loss, I let go of the vehicle. And then and that was another thing, because I really wanted to experience riding my bike around Los Angeles. Like, what's it like to not have a car? Of course, that's good to ponder and to intend on, but no one's going to just give up their car. But for me, it got to the point where I was forced to give up my car, and I stepped into happily a zone where I'm just riding my bike around. And then one day I started thinking, like, I really desire a new place to live. And this is before I became homeless. So, but I didn't have any money, and I was like, I don't really like the place I'm living right now. I want a new place. And again, I kept my standards and values about it, and I started imagining the new place. Top of the Hollywood Hills, luxurious. And then I met somebody, and we went into business together, and as part of that business, for those of you thinking what's going on, it was a straight male. We're setting up a legitimate business, but part of that was we needed a house to do business meetings, and we got a house at the top of the Hollywood Hills. No money from my pocket, just the value that I was, and I manifested that, right? Anyways, that business didn't really work out, and then I got to the point where that house also was released by me, and that's when I started deciding, well, if I don't have a house, what happens? Can I still live? And I started experimenting through that, and that was wild, because I wouldn't have a place to sleep at night, and all of a sudden I would get a text from a friend that would be like, hey, I'm going to Europe for 3 weeks. Do you want to watch my cat in my house in front of the Manhattan beach? And I would be like, yeah. And I'd get to the end of that 3 weeks, and somebody else would contact me. Every once in a while, I slept in my storage shed. I slept in the Korean Wee Spa, I think like 5 times over the course of like 6 months to a year. I don't know how long I did this, but it was a long time. And it was crazy to experience your own manifestations without the story of money. Shampoo is also another thing, guys, that I do not know what the best is. For me, it's like a question of like flakes, because I just don't ever desire washing my hair. But I need to get in there and scrub, because I've got some sort of dandruff that builds up if I don't, and I know that that's probably a fungus and yada yada yada, but that's what I'm dealing with right now, and I haven't found any solutions that I love. But my next episode of Subject Matter Experts podcast show is with hair experts, so that's going to be out maybe in a month or so. I'll have 5 different hair experts. Maybe 3 weeks will be the first episode. How do we choose to make look beautiful in our perception? How do we choose to make look beautiful to make life beautiful? Not sure what, make life look good in our perception. So you need to start. So right now, in my driveway right now, I've got the world's fastest car. Once upon a time, I did a story on, it's the world's quickest car. But once upon a time, 11 years ago, I went and I took some adult education executive courses at USC, and we had to do a report on a company, and I chose Tesla. And at that time, I fell in love with Teslas. And eventually, I'm on my third Tesla right now, but I've got the best Tesla they make right now. And that's all, for me, a manifestation. And that intention was set 11 years ago. And I felt it come into being just a few years ago when we bought our first one, cash. Which, how we just had that money was also another manifestation. But the point of that is that we will not have a happy vehicle, a happy relationship, a happy life. We won't see the beauty in our life, in nature, in our daily grind, unless we can start seeing that now. So however we're living, whatever vehicle we're driving, like I said, remember I said I loved my truck? Remember I said that a few minutes ago? I loved it so much. And I sold it for $4,000. So you guys can calculate what the quality of this thing was that I loved. The $4,000 vehicle is not a decent vehicle, but I loved it so much. And I still love, I've got, one of these things was, it cost 6 figures in the driveway. And the love is the same. And it really didn't matter that one cost $4,000, one cost 6 figures. Because nothing changed inside me, right? So I resonate, I harmonize with the beauty that I see. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, as they say. So if you'd like to start manifesting and harmonizing realities of beauty and passion and luxury and comfort and joy and pleasure and satisfaction around you, learn to feel that now. Because if you cannot learn to feel that now, no matter what comes into your life, you're not going to feel it. It's just going to be a new this, a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend, a new job, a new this, that you thought was going to be the answer to your voids, and they're not. And there's countless celebrities that have videos out there speaking about this. Jim Carrey is like one of the main ones that says, he wishes everybody could have the experience of being rich and famous and realizing that it doesn't change anything. So that's how. Be grateful for what you have. And it's kind of like the hack. It's the trick, because you don't actually need reality to change. And you might even do what I did and say, if this is true, can I go in the reverse direction? Can I give up everything and still feel this sensation that I have everything? And the answer I found was yes. So that's what I'm telling you guys. That is what I'm telling you guys. DM me about best food for dogs. Yeah, thank you. We've tried everything that we know about. Everything I have fits in 3 luggages. Amazing. That's also how I moved to California, with 5 pieces of luggage. And then I shipped my motorcycle behind me. That was all crashed up, because I crashed it on the first day that I had it. And then 5 days later. Oh, work joyfully, live joyfully, life will be joyful. Exactly. In every moment, choose the way that you would like to be. And you will be that way, and everything will harmonize that way. Guys, there was a time when I was a dick to everybody, and everybody else was a dick to me. Hello? And one day, I hired a person from Erewhon, Grace. She's the person that... She told me after I hired her that I was so mean that she just took it upon herself to try to make me smile or laugh. And what that did for me was, it was like, man, this girl is a great employee. I thought she loved her job. I'm like, and one day I was like, hey, do you want to work here forever at Erewhon? I own a couple gyms, and I feel that, I forget the exact words, but I told her about my gyms. She came and she started working for me. A few weeks after working for me, she started telling me that the people at Erewhon would be like, why'd you go work for that guy? He's such a dick. And I was like, whoa, hold on. The people at Air One don't like me. The grocery store that I would go to literally 3 times a day, I lived right by there. I moved right by my grocery store that I loved. Again, guys, organize your life to satisfy yourself. There was a grocery store 35 minutes away from where I lived. I went to it every day, and then one day I was like, why don't I just live next to this thing? And so I created and manifested housing, which was the house that I wanted to leave that I spoke about earlier. But Grace told me that everybody there kind of hated me, and that made me step back and be like, wait, what? Because I didn't think I was acting this way, but I'm getting reflection from an employee there who everybody felt this way about me. And then so I decided in that moment, this is one of the moments in my life that I shifted. I was like, okay, how is it possible for me to be likable to this whole community? Even like the other customers there, I felt like there was a little tension between us, and we didn't smile at each other. We weren't friendly. And so I decided, like, what can I do to be likable in this community? And so I started smiling when I entered the door. I started saying hi to people, like literally just the act of looking people in the eyes, smiling and saying hi. I just did that to everybody that I walked past, like everybody. And almost instantaneously, like literally, it didn't even make sense of how fast the shift was. Like instantly. Like you would think that it would take some building up to turn people's states of awareness around, but it didn't. It was like instantaneous. I started being invited places by people there. So guys, you can change your life instantly in a matter of, it's just a decision. It's not like things need to happen. It's literally an internal decision in self. And how long ago was this? This was 2015, 16. All right. So it's, what is that? 8 years, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna go. There's some questions in the question box. How do I know if crystal stones in their respective shops are sold? Get referrals for going to crystal stores, because they're making fake crystals now in labs, and you can ask questions too to the owners and see how they are. But yeah, crystals are one of those things that if you're with the right people, then they can make amazing recommendations, and you can have amazing times with these little programmable devices, which crystals are. And some even say crystals are living, just like the plants, like we started this conversation off with. Anyways, take care, everybody. Love you all. Love your questions. Thank you so much.